The Las Vegas Raiders need a new quarterback, and there have been many rumors about who they might pick. Over the past few weeks, as the team hired a new offensive coordinator and a head coach, Pete Carroll, fans and analysts have been guessing who will lead the Raiders next. Some people thought Russell Wilson could be an option. After all, Pete Carroll and Wilson won a Super Bowl together, so it made sense to some. But NFL insider Jay Glazer has completely shut down this idea. Glazer, who is one of the most trusted sources in football news, made it clear that there is no chance Wilson and Carroll will reunite in Las Vegas. In fact, Glazer also mentioned that the Pittsburgh Steelers won't be signing Wilson either. Instead, Wilson is looking for a fresh start with a completely different team, and this means the Raiders will have to explore other options for their quarterback. We'll take a look at those possibilities next, but one thing is certain. Wilson won't be wearing a Raiders jersey anytime soon. Plus, with at least 2 teams set to draft a quarterback before the Raiders, their choices might be limited. The Tennessee Titans have the first overall pick in the draft, while the New York Giants have the third. Both teams might need a quarterback, but things could get interesting if one of them considers signing Russell Wilson instead of drafting a new player. For the Titans, this might not make much sense since they have the first pick. If they believe their young quarterback Will Levis isn't the answer, they could draft someone like Cam Ward, the top quarterback in this class. Levis has a strong arm and good accuracy, but the big question is whether he can process plays quickly enough. Some quarterbacks improve over time, like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, so the Titans have to decide if they want to give Levis more time to develop or move on. If the Titans don't take Wilson, the Giants could be a potential landing spot. They have young talent, a solid running back, a good wide receiver, and other key pieces. Instead of drafting a rookie quarterback and waiting years for him to develop, they might sign Wilson and use their third pick to strengthen their offensive line or defense. Most young quarterbacks take several years to become consistent winners, as we've seen with Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes is a rare exception. So the Giants might decide that adding an experienced quarterback like Wilson could help them compete sooner rather than later. What Patrick Mahomes has done in the NFL is not normal. Most quarterbacks take a few years to develop. That's why it will be interesting to see which teams choose which quarterbacks in this offseason. At this point, it looks like the Raiders are not interested in Russell Wilson, but they still have a few options. Some people think they should go after Justin Fields, but I don't believe he's the right fit. Fields has struggled to process plays quickly, even with different coaches. A quarterback needs to read defenses before the play starts and make fast decisions. If he can't do that, it becomes a big problem. We've already seen Fields in 2 different systems, and he hasn't shown enough improvement. That's why I wouldn't take him if I were the Raiders. However, there are still other quarterbacks available. Kirk Cousins is an option. The Vikings might move on from either Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy, so one of them could be available. Other free agent quarterbacks include Ryan Tannehill and even Gardner Minshew. The Raiders could sign one of them and let the best player win the starting job in training camp. Another possibility is drafting a rookie quarterback. Head coach Chip Kelly might prefer this approach because he can train a young quarterback to run his system exactly how he wants. Even if the Titans and Giants take quarterbacks with the first 2 picks, the Raiders could still find a solid young player in the draft. Last year, people weren't sure about J.J. McCarthy, but now he's a real option. This shows that things can change quickly in the NFL and the Raiders have some big decisions to make. A month ago, people saw J.J. McCarthy as a 3rd-round pick, Michael Penix as a 2nd-round pick, and even Jaden Daniels wasn't guaranteed to be the second-best quarterback in this class. But as the draft gets closer, things change. Over the next few weeks, some quarterbacks will solidify their positions, and we might even see 4 or 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. One name that stands out is Jackson Dart. I watched his tape recently, and he looks impressive. Strong arm, accurate throws, and good decision-making. Cam Ward, who is my top quarterback in this class, is also very solid. Other quarterbacks like Kyle McCord and Will Howard are also getting attention. Interestingly, Chip Kelly already has a connection to Will Howard, so that could be something to watch. The Raiders have a big decision to make. Free agency is coming up, and after that, the draft will be right around the corner. If the Raiders don't sign a quarterback in free agency or draft one early, it likely means they'll stick with the players they already have. In my opinion, a great offensive coach makes a huge difference for a quarterback. Look at what Kyle Shanahan has done. He took Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl, helped Brock Purdy shine, and even made Gardner Minshew look good. That shows how much a coach's system can impact a quarterback's success. We saw the difference with Jimmy Garoppolo playing under Shanahan in San Francisco versus playing under Josh McDaniels in Las Vegas. The right coach matters, and I believe Chip Kelly could help the Raiders' current quarterback succeed more than their previous system allowed. Even though it's called the off-season, this is really the most important time of the year for building a team. The moves teams make now, signing free agents, drafting players, and making trades, will shape the season ahead. This is where championships are built, and I'm excited to see how the Raiders handle it. As the season wraps up, we've seen some incredible performances from top players. Jalen Carter has been a dominant force on defense, consistently pressuring quarterbacks. DeAndre Hopkins continues to be a reliable target, making big plays when his team needs them. Travis Kelce has once again proven why he's one of the best tight ends in the game. He always steps up in important matchups, and it's hard to imagine him not making a major impact. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts has been dangerous both through the air and on the ground, using his unique skill set to score touchdowns in key moments. With the playoffs approaching, every game matters more than ever. The best teams are making their final adjustments, and every player will need to be at their best. It's going to be exciting to see who steps up and leads their team to victory. A few weeks ago, Patrick Mahomes actually had a reception in a creative play designed by the Chiefs. Andy Reid is known for drawing up unexpected plays, often borrowing ideas from college or even high school teams. There's always a chance the Chiefs could pull off another trick play, and Mahomes might end up catching another pass. It's a long shot, but with Reid's play calling, anything is possible. Now, shifting to another big topic, Josh Jacobs recently opened up about his time with the Las Vegas Raiders and how things ended. Jacobs made it clear that he wanted to stay with the Raiders long-term after his incredible season. However, the organization had different plans. Instead of offering him a long-term extension, they placed the franchise tag on him, signaling that they weren't committed to him for the future. Jacobs mentioned that at that moment, he realized the team didn't see him as part of their long-term plans. He didn't call out Raiders owner Mark Davis specifically, but he did say that the decision-makers at the time, General Manager Dave Ziegler and head coach Josh McDaniels, were the ones who chose not to extend him. After Ziegler and McDaniels were fired, Tom Telesco took over as GM, but by then it seemed like Jacobs had already made up his mind about leaving. Reports suggest that neither side seriously pursued contract talks. From Jacobs' perspective, it's understandable. After putting up a huge season, he wanted to be valued, and the Raiders simply didn't show that commitment. Regardless of how things turned out, one thing is certain. Josh Jacobs is a talented player, and his next chapter in the NFL will be worth watching. Josh Jacobs is a solid running back, but running backs are often easier to replace than other positions. While I don't necessarily disagree with the Raiders letting him walk, I do take issue with the fact that Tom Telesco didn't draft a running back last year. There were several talented prospects in that draft class, yet the Raiders didn't bring in any of them. Instead, they took Dylan L., who hasn't really shown much promise so far. This year, things need to be different. John Spytek, who has experience drafting running backs in recent seasons, is now in a position to make those decisions. Hopefully, the Raiders will prioritize the position and improve the run game, which was a major struggle last season. A big part of that struggle was simply a lack of talent in the backfield. Hearing Jacobs' perspective on his departure from the Raiders does give me a new level of respect for him. He clearly wanted to stay, especially after winning the rushing title, and he felt that he deserved a long-term contract. Even when the Raiders only offered him the franchise tag, he still played through the final year when he could have chosen to sit out most of the season. He admitted that his original plan was to play just 4 games, the minimum required to get credit for the season, but ultimately, he changed his mind and decided to finish out the year. Respect to him for that. and I hope he finds success with the Green Bay Packers. Now, shifting to another interesting topic, Ben Johnson and the Las Vegas Raiders reportedly have some bad blood. This situation is strange. According to reports, Johnson was unhappy because he felt forced to take an interview with the Raiders. His agent even spoke out, saying Johnson was never seriously considering the job but let the media speculation continue without shutting it down. Johnson apparently only wanted to interview with teams he was genuinely interested in coaching, with the Chicago Bears being one of them. However, the Raiders put in a request anyway, and Johnson felt like he had to go through with it to avoid looking bad. To me, that logic doesn't add up. If you don't want the job, just decline the interview. It's not that complicated. Regardless, it's an odd story, and Johnson's agent has been vocal about the situation. Whether there's real tension or just media noise, it's interesting to see how this has played out. Finally, on a more positive note, Eric Allen has officially made the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2025. Big congratulations to the former Raider. It's well deserved. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll be back soon with another update.